This is Jatin Chaudhary. I'm the co-founder of Each Network. We host engaging startup networking meetups in 25 global startup cities. In addition to our physical meetups, this initiative that we started, Spouse Entrepreneurs, where the idea is to invite awesome founder couples to come and share their experiences and how it's working together, building the same business or different businesses. Ujwal and Pooja, it's started as a call center automation solution company, and now it's a pioneer in hosted telecom software company. So, can you tell us a little more about it, what it does, so that in layman terms people understand where does your company fit in?
What do we sell? What do we do? Yes, we started as a contact center automation company, and we still do that. We help automate customer contact. The only difference is that concept selling way back then, now people realize that, hey, digital is the way to go. Therefore, it is a lot more of demand servicing. But what we do in a nutshell is we help companies democratize their customer contact. And democratization, I mean, is a heavy word, right? But how do we help companies democratize? If a company wants to build in speech recognition into their telecom platform, they have Google Cloud to choose from. They have Amazon Web Services to choose from. They have Microsoft Azure to choose from. Amazon is great in cloud computing. Google is great in speech recognition. IBM Watson, which was 2017 people used to talk about, it's nowhere in the running today, right? So it's a very dynamic market. So what we are doing is we are helping companies adopt the cloud without having to do capital expenditure or spend a humongous amount of coding or development effort in integrating all of these platforms. I don't need an expert in each of these platforms. I mean, it's the classic IBM paradox that everyone had in the late 1990s. IBM was everywhere. No one could switch from IBM because IBM was so ingrained into their system. So we are helping enterprises actually easily choose and switch between all of these platforms to really democratize their customer engagement automation journey, and select the correct platform. So that's one part of democratization. The second part of democratization, if you look at it really, is the call center industry in India. Big cities are Bangalore, Bombay, Pune, Delhi, maybe a few more centers like Ahmedabad, which have a smaller share of the market.
Yep.
But everyone, for such a great country, such a humongous country, people had to come to this place. But with lockdown, the COVID-19 impact has really put the digital journey 5 years ahead for companies, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So the companies have now, I mean, you can have an amazing agent sitting out of Kohima or sitting out of Jammu or sitting out of Coimbatore for all I care, and giving amazing customer service. So democratize the human aspect of customer service as well. And so these are the aspects that enterprises need to really have a great customer communication strategy. And we are building our platform is the platform that enterprises use globally to do this. I mean, just to give you an example of scale, almost 8 out of 10 Indian travelers, if they ever get a phone call, an automated phone call telling them that their flight is rescheduled or their gate has changed, those calls are from our systems. And
Wow.
the remaining 2 calls would probably be manual calls, which are not from our systems.
Awesome. And you are building it from Baroda?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think people ask me quite a few times, you're based in where? Vadodara. I said, yeah, we're based in Vadodara. I think it's a great place.
And you're basically from Vadodara, or like
I did
there
my
was?
schooling from Baroda, I did my engineering from Baroda, then moved out for a few years and then came back.
Okay.
I
And
want to
Pooja,
add
yes,
something.
yes, Pooja.
I just want to add. So, my elevator switch, just to make it simple, we automate communication on a single platform. If it is voice, SMS, email, bot, whenever a customer wants to interact, wants to connect with someone, and you need to connect to the customer, we can do it at the same thing. You don't have to integrate. So what we've taken is, like Ujwal said, we've taken the best on our platform, and what we have done is people don't need to go to 10 different players to get the best out of that. Our forte has been solution architecture, and that is where we have kept our head and eyes at.
Who do you compete with?
I would say no one, but yes, all the cloud telephony and what kind of a thing, yes, in a way, but we do.
But you provide much more services than
See, I
just
think
those
the
two.
differentiator is that we provide this entire journey of automation of journey on the same platform, and our integration with the best players like Watson. For speech to text, Google is one of the best players. So, it's integrated. If Microsoft is very good for speech verification, so they are integrated with us, So, and whereas in my engine works through and through with cloud telephony and through solutioning, which is easy. So, and it's a drag and drop. It's a very easy system. So while that goes up in that kind of space and with that kind of data security and SLAs, I think we are in a good space. We are in a good space. And that's been because, so I'll tell you stickiness. We have had customers whom we have started when they were only 7 aircrafts.
Mm-hmm.
They are like multiple. I don't know how many hundreds of them. We are there going strong. We've been working with a huge bank since 2008. And most of my customers are 5 years, 8 years, and so are for Baroda reasons, so are my employees.
And Pooja, so Ujwal, you mentioned that in 2006 you started Phonon. 2012, Pooja became part of the leadership team, and suddenly it accelerated. So, what are your thoughts on? And that is the central premise of this entire spouse entrepreneur series: working with a spouse, being in a leader. So, how do you manage, or what are your thoughts on that?
It's walking on fire.
That we know. That is why people will be listening or watching this video.
I think the important thing is the arguments or the fights or the conversations are all in the interest of the organization. There's a very simple philosophy that Pooja said for us in the marriage: we will never fight and go to bed. I think there is a personal and professional overlap. We're talking about that, and that's what we try to do. We try to switch off when we are outside office. We try to respect each other's personal time. I mean, it can be that Pooja is working at a certain point of time, I'm working at a certain point of time, which is outside work hours. Or I might be at the golf course and Pooja is working on something, or she might be at the tennis courts and I'm working on something, or she might be with the kids. Right? She's a multitasker. I'm like a single tasker. But we respect each other. That's very important. And so I think respecting the contribution of each person, defining responsibilities and accountabilities, and detaching personal and professional, at least time-wise, time management-wise, is very important.
Right.
Things overlap. Shit happens. But I think the bottom line is, what's the context and why are we doing that? That's what.
Your thoughts on that?
So when I joined Phonon and I started working with Ujwal, and I'm a personality and so is Ujwal. Okay? So that means one of my biggest question mark was in my head was that I can't get overshadowed, or my people should not really look at me that, listen, they are husband and wife, so they will have the same opinion. That's been a conscious effort to sit down and put your head and say that I think in this way, and he has his own thinking. As an organization, what is the best and what needs to be done? I think that is very clear in both our heads when it really comes down to work, and that really works because ultimately that is very important. No? And so that's been the base line of it. For me, today, achievement is, that we can work together. But my other biggest achievement is that my people, and that's what I call my people, in every employee of the organization, can come and we can have an objective conversation, where when it comes down to aligning ourselves with the organization, we can just do it. And that is great because they know that if they go to him or me, irrespective, we are sitting there as roles. So the moment we step into the organization, we step in that zone, we're there for Phonon. There's nothing else, Yeah. So
8 years.
8 years. It's not easy, It's also the first 2-3 years, though great at everything, went in building trust with this guy. Yeah, because he was a toughie, and it's a good thing because getting into details and being ethically and not just putting what you think or assuming. were some of the good takeaways. And I added my zeal to it. It worked out. But
Yes.
now we have come to a point where we know. Now, when you walk into the office, we understand, okay, this is his, then this is mine, and we block our times. And then we talk on.
Meeting request, ma'am.
We don't meet each other without meeting requests. No, that's rule of thumb. Whenever we have tried that, it really doesn't work.
That is amazing. We'll do a rapid fire. So there are certain questions. If what is that one skill Ujwal has, and you feel that if you really had that, you would have done much better than whatever you are doing.
Detailing.
One tricky thing is that sometimes you have to give critical feedback about the opinion or something that they would have done.
I think internally a person always knows what is right, what is the solution, and we also always know when there's a conflict of interest, a conflict of opinion, not interest, conflict of opinion. We also always know that it's about identifying where the boundaries are. If a conversation is not going that way, agree to disagree and take it up 10 minutes later, half an hour later, one day later. You're not missing a train for that. Right?
Which is your favorite book or a podcast?
Books. The last which I've gone back to is Tuesdays with Maury.
Okay.
I love that book. I think it's a good book in this time to introspect and go back and look at life.
Ujwal, which is your favorite book or a podcast?
Favorite? I think books are way too many to have a favorite. But if you ask me, I can rattle off lines from Fountainhead, Atlas Shrugged. I can be Godfather for all I care.
Atlas Shrugged is 2 in 2. The first episode also that book got recommended.
Oh, really? Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And yes, Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon readings are PG Woodhouse.
And Pooja and Ujwal. So typically we do at all our physical meetups. We have panelists ask questions to each other. So Pooja, what is that question you always wanted to ask Ujwal? Never got a chance to ask, but here is your chance.
Pooja, what's your favorite color?
Mine. It keeps on changing, yeah. Let me ask you this question, Ujwal. Why do you want me to be part of Phonon? Because he's not the kind. I'm telling you, my first job was payment collection. I used to look at an Excel every day in the morning, and I've been like, heading a few projects and everything globally, and he told me, open an Excel, look at this, pick up the phone, call them, and ask them. So I want to know because he's never told me that. We've had a lot of arguments, but he's never told me this.
Yes, Ujwal, you must answer this.
I think without her, the journey is incomplete, man. People say professional alag life hona chahiye, personal alag life hona chahiye. We are like yin and yang here. We complete each other, and I think she brings in, she complements me perfectly at work while I'm detail oriented, stepwise, functional, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Right? She's the one who can put in fuzzy logic around everything and complete seal the deal. So I think it's important that we complement each other, and that's and I think this journey would not have been half as much fun as it's been without her.
Very well answered. And Ujwal, if you were not running Phonon, what else you would have been doing?
Me? Oh, I would have been a professor somewhere. Absolutely, no two questions.
I actually had taken a small sabbatical before I joined Phonon. I took an educational sabbatical and got deviated towards health economics. And I was pretty much set to do that. I wanted to do work with NGOs and more on the health aspect of it. That was, I think that was my calling, and that is something which I still probably would want to do. Maybe not at the health economics and research side of it, but definitely more awareness. One of the things which I sometimes want to ask people is, there's this entire nutrition thing which is written. How many people can actually read it and relate to it? So yeah, these are the things which are going on in my head, and they work out, and that's that. So yeah.
Yep. And Pooja, which particular activity in your business life you enjoy the most?
Human. It could be client, it could be internal, my employees, it could be outside people, the customers, end customers. It's the connect. Internally also, it's a VOC and VOE, both are very important part. So that is very important. Though that's moment of truth.
Yes. And Ujwal, in your case?
What I enjoy the most?
Yep.
Sitting and giving orders, man. What I really enjoy about this business is the part that I enjoy is how such a small company based out of Vadodara has changed technology adoption by such an important customer role in organizations, customer facing role, customer centric role, services role for so many enterprises. I think we've made an impact to our clients, and I think that's what I love to see.
Yep. Which are the other founders you admire? Like one particular founder that you feel, okay, you get very inspired from his journey or through your personal interaction, anything?
My inspiration, and I think I always go back to this, is an interview of Mr. Narayan Murthy that I had seen, I think in 1999 at 10 o'clock on Star TV. And he said a very nice thing. His one sentence was, "The softest pillow is a clear conscience." Right? And I think that's something that I always try to ensure.
Since there are so many your stories which are coming up, lots
Yep.
and lots. But the recent one, I got really, I think, inspired me because maybe I have a little social knack and things of it. Was Sridhar Vembu. He's the Zoho founder, and how he spent his time during the lockdown, and he went back to his village, started teaching kids, and is also trying to get the entire setup from US to India. And I think that's very contributory, and what we can give back to society is very, very important. And that's one of the things where I really feel very fulfilled with Phonon also, because it's everybody's creating employment this way or that way. But here I see people who join in, my interns and all were from here, brilliant kids, and then their confidence, oh, it's amazing. It rises from one to another, to notch, to notch, to notch. And then you see them just coming up on a client's call, and you sit back and you go like, wow, kya bol raha hai yaar ye tu, and the pride they associate, and it's amazing. It's like really, you're getting like the greatest meal at your home.
Right.
Get a 5-star spread in your home.
Both of you can answer this together or probably individually. If everything goes the way you feel, you imagine the way it happens, what would Phonon be in that case?
Ringing the bell somewhere on some stock exchange.
Yes, please do that because we want to start startup to IPO kind of series also. So imagine this as a universe, like there is a university of founder couples, and you are invited as a chief guest for their convocation, but you are supposed to deliver that your convocation speech in just one line. So what would that one line be, Ujwal?
Respect boundaries.
Cello, sit back, think, let it go, sleep. On a serious note, initially when you start working, don't take quick decisions because they are driven by emotions. It's the starting of it. So start sleepovering it, sleep over the first few decisions in your initial years of partnership, and I think then it's good to go. Then it's good to go.
Yep. Thank you so much, Pooja and